So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are going to talk about a fog match between Brother Long and fyram. The map is on Scavenger and the CO matchup is Drake to Kindle. At the very beginning, let's have a look at both players and their ratings, their playing style, and the CO matchup. So, have a look first, Brother Long. He's a top 10 fog players in the current global league, and you could see he's a very solid 1400 player, and his peak was reaching 1500 in all ratings. His playing style is a bit interesting. He prefers very solid opening and he builds lots of artilleries. Sometimes he would prefer building a rocket. And his steady styles, which brings him easily to 1400 and beating lots of strong players. And here comes fyram. fyram is also a very solid 1400 player. His max rating is 1470, and he is a little bit different from Brother Long. fyram early game is very aggressive. He wants to play aggressively in order to gain advantage, either in property leads or unit count leads. Yeah, he's quite good in game openings. Early game engagement. And then we come to the CO matchup, Drake versus Kindle. Here comes the introduction of Drake, and we could see that his superpower is quite insane. However, his air units lose 20% attack, but in most of the game, his battlecopter problem or even bomber problems were not that bad to affect the game. There's only quite a few number of maps that the bad air really problematic, like 2 Essos, the 2 bases and 3 airports map, which makes the air units very problematic to play. Especially in 2 Essos, if you want to play in the center, the battlecopters they just don't one-hit KO units, which is pretty bad. The other CO is Kindle. We could see her normal power and superpower. She has insane strong powers on cities, and her superpower, which increase all her units attack according to the number of cities she owns. So, in conclusion, Kindle is more or less an early game CO. She wants to take advantage of her day-to-day ability in order to get as many properties as possible in the early game. However, Drake is on the contrary, which means he wants to stall the game. He wants to have as large army as possible so that he could get his superpower very easily. He could take advantage of his superpower to kill a lot of units. So, that's just a brief introduction of both sides players and the CO matchup. We then come into the game. Okay, here's the replay. Let's just start the match. Here, as we can see, Brother Long's capture pace is very aggressive and positive. He wants to hold as many properties in one turn as possible. Very interesting opening. Day 5 tank. Normally on this map, Scavenger, we hardly have a Day 5 weak side tank opening. Most of the cases we prefer a Day 4 recon and either to interrupt this corner capture or stand on the cities in the middle to prohibit your opponent infantry to capture very aggressively or greatly. It is a quite interesting opening on Brother Long's side. He then make up another recon, which is very important. Tank opening requires the accompany of the recon. Without recon, tank vision was not enough, and he's not going to kill lots of units. Very strange and new openings for Brother Long, because as the common knowledge, the weak side early game requires more infantry to capture as many properties as possible, because your opponent will likely to engage your weak side very quick in the early game, so you want to hold as many properties as possible. Then we wait and see if Brother Long's opening makes sense. Yeah, as you could see, fyram recon directly sit on the center cities, which is a quite controversial area in this map. Brother Long then built an artillery day 7. According to his words, he doesn't really like this artillery build because, as we could see, his infantry marched very greatly and fast. Without the tank covering, he doesn't know, or he cannot secure whether it will be interrupted by a recon or not. As we could see, Brother Long's early plan is that he wants to go very aggressive from the weak side, which is a quite interesting option. And fyram built an artillery to destroy the pipe seam over there. And then here comes a little understanding of my experience about strong side or weak side analysis. Mostly, the map doesn't really have a destined strong side, weak side. The both sides are mostly dynamic. Whether you want to engage from the strong side early game to be very aggressive, to take properties, to interrupt your opponent's pace makes sense. And as Brother Long did in this match, your weak side could be a little aggressive in the early game, because your opponent may not be well prepared for this. But in this kind of aggression, we must keep in mind that we know when to stop our aggression, when to stop our marching in the game. If we be very greedy and go overextended, our weak side will expose, which will just be very bad to our late game play or even mid game play. Okay? He covered his capture with recon and tank. He doesn't really have many tanks in the in the strong side. Well, you could see very interesting. He tries to kill the captured infantry from his weak side. And he stops the center capture. In day 10, Brother Long's plan is more or less to steal or take away firing properties. Yeah, it lacks that. So Fyram answered with his tank to one-hit KO the recon on planes. And he added his force to secure his city capture. So as we could see, Brother Long added his force in this front, which means his unit count was bad compared to Fyram on the downside. You see, in fog gameplays, it is very important to keep your weak side infantry safe. When you want to all in, when you want to add lots of pressure from one side, you want to withdraw, you want to take back your weak side infantry so that they won't be killed by your opponent's strong side. So Fyram front switched again. And we could see he's trying to sneak properties from Brother Long at the downside. Brother Long launched his attack. Yeah, we then have a look at Fyram answers. He's now pressing all his force in. He got his reinforcement, his B-copter, his tank, and his shield of 2 artilleries. Well, this is a pretty lucky roll. 7-5, a Kindle tank from cities. More or less, it is because his city tank was at first had a little damage according to this engagement, so this 7-5 makes it possible. According to Brother Long's words, he doesn't really want to engage this turn because he discovered Fyram got 2 artilleries from this side. Let's have a look how Fyram answered. Fyram popped her normal power, Kindle normal power, and yeah, killed a lot of units. And at this time, Brother Long has his superpower. Let's have a look at how he answered. He retreated at the bottom, he engaged at the top. Very sadly, Brother Long still doesn't have a vehicle to targeting at fyram 8 HP artillery, which is pretty sad. So fyram launched his downside engagement from the ring. He knows that his battlecopter will be safe because Brother Long does not have an anti-air to answer. His battlecopter can still be free for one more turn. So Brother Long answered. He finally has a unit to engage fyram that 8 HP artillery. Good. As you could see, Brother Long topside engagement is way faster compared to fyram. At this very crucial moment, Brother Long is quite in unit count lead, unit value lead. It is quite interesting. fyram still opts to engage at the downside. In fact, I don't really agree with that, because if you engage that deep, you don't have your reinforcement, and as we all know, it is very important to keep these infantries alive. And then fyram popped his normal power again, so that this property won't be captured. So Brother Long sit back a little bit. Oh, he still decides to engage, which is very interesting. And then fyram captured another property back. They're pretty sad. fyram tank is killed by Brother Long's units, although it seems that his reinforcement, this tank, will reach the spot quickly. Well, here I don't really agree with it, because let's take it back. In this turn, Brother Long did answer and killed lots of fyram units from either side, but he exposed his only anti-air directly within fyram tank range. It is very common for Kindle to spam her B-copters, so I don't really agree with it. If his top side does not have an anti-air, which will be very problematic for late game aggression. So you can see his only anti-air is dead. At this crucial moment, front switch happens. The strong side and the weak side has changed. At this crucial moment, I think fyram was doing better than Brother Long. His units is linked, as you could see, from here to here is linked. However, Brother Long's units was separated from the rivers. fyram units stopped, or either stop or block brought along units from reinforcing his top side. So let's see how he answered. He's still engaging, which is a quite interesting thing. He then built another artillery and a medium tank. Let's wait and see if this medium tank can do his job. Brother Long is trying to take his properties back at the bottom side. Fyram then built another new tank. Quite interesting. I hardly see this kind of build in a 22K map. So we just look at how Brother Long answered over here. Continue engage from the top side. Pretty disadvantage for Fyram because his unit can't already fall behind. Let's see how his units could work. It's quite interesting. Brother Long still choose to engage from this turn and at the same time trying to sneak properties from the downside. Anyway, I think from my perspective, I think what Brother Long do is quite risk-taking because at first there's a medium tank. Second, there's a Kindle tank from cities. Well, let's have a look how Fyram answered. So new tank appears. Very good to see his medium tank falls in Brother Long range. So he does shield his medium tank with the artillery. If Fyram new tank wants to engage, he will eat the response of the artillery. So Fyram waited for one turn, and he's trying to make another new tank, and he's trying to bring back his unit counts. Yeah, here's probably a trap. The medium tank is a bait. Brother Long prepares an artillery and a new tank just behind the medium tank in order to kill Fyram new tank. You know, baiting in high level fog play is very important. More or less, you want to bait your opponent. You want to make him engage wrong. You want to make him reinforcement didn't reach the spot. Let's have a look at how Fyram responds. So pretty sad, Fyram fall in trap. That's pretty. But at the same time, Fyram another new tank raged. but I still don't think that's a quite even trade. It's hard to say. At the same time, as you could see, fyram unit counts starting to be not enough from the bottom side. I think it is more or less due to fyram early aggression. He went way too deep to Brother Long's strong side, especially that is a 2-base side. Yeah, let's see. So Brother Long steadily trying to take properties from the downside, and at the same time being Drake, he tries to battlecopter spam, which is quite interesting, but it is still good. fyram answer with the power. Two battlecopters targeting at the new tank. Let's see if it's worth it. Well, it is quite interesting. fyram chose to still engage with his 3 HP new tank, because we know, he should know that Brother Long has a medium tank, injured new tank at the back. If he lost his new tank, Brother Long no longer afraid of his units at the top. Let's see how Brother Long answered. Yeah, quite bad trade to lose the new tank. And then Brother Long propped his superpower again. At this very time, you could see fyram is very disadvantaged at this crucial point. Unit count bad, unit value bad, property bad. Very hard to come back. So Brother Long knows he has no longer more answer for his new tank and his medium tank. So he engaged directly to it. So fyram resigned. Let's make a little sum up of this match. As you could see, the early game, even the mid game, the both sides is quite even. It is surprising that fyram chose to have unit spam, mostly in a 22k map. This is not really advocated, because in this kind of income map, we normally require to increase as many unit counts as possible, which means we would prefer building like battlecopter, tank, infantry. That is a more common build. In fact, fyram heavy units build doesn't really carry its function. At this crucial point, these heavy units will mainly be there to frighten. I think to frighten Brother Long's engagement is much better compared to direct engage with either the new tank or the medium tank. As you could see, at this crucial turn, fyram medium tank lost. Doesn't quite worthy, I think, this trade. Yeah. And at the same time, Brother Long has his new tank prepared. And we wait and see. His new tank doesn't really carry that much function, just doesn't even one-hit KO a medium tank, and was shot back by the artillery and brought along new tank. It is a little bit doubtful. Mostly according to my experience, when following in unit account, I would like to prefer to build battlecopters, tank, infantry to increase my unit count. Well, I would like to say Brother Long is very good at grasping the chance, and Fyram went a little bit too overextended from the early game to the end of the game, which just lost his units and cost all his matches, cost all his game. Okay, then I think this match analysis will just stop here. Thanks for watching.